Something that really pisses me off is when dating coaches or fake gurus online say, women respond to this. This is how you attract women. This is what is a universal in her genetic blueprint, what turns a woman on. And the fact is, female attraction is anything but universal. There's a few broad things that I guess are universal, but most of it, 90% anyway, is completely subjective. I am Casey Redbeard, as you already know, and I am joined by
Max. Nice to meet you, bro. Thanks for having me.
Max Kesik. Let's shout out your Instagram for these guys.
Max Kesik, so M-A-X-K-E-S-I-K. Cool. And I make travel content, dating content, self-development, things of that nature.
He's one of those guys that wears the Ray-Bans with a hidden camera in it. It has a whole plethora. How many terabytes of in-field footage do you have, like picking up girls from a first-person perspective?
Quite a lot, yeah. So I do it on the glasses, I do it on the GoPro, I do it in the street interviews as well, and things of that nature.
Yeah, go follow him. It's Max Kesik on, or what's the Instagram?
The same. Max Kesik.
Max Kesik. Okay, cool. So between us, we didn't really count it out, but it's probably at least 40 to 50 countries, and probably double that in terms of cities that we've combined. You've done a lot of Europe. We've both done Asia, Latin America. He's been to the States. I'm from the States. He's from Poland, grew up in the UK. So we're going to talk about, as I alluded to in the introduction of the video, is what's universal in terms of attraction across any language, any culture, any region of the world. What is universal for attracting women? Not very much, but we'll get to that. Surprisingly, few things are universal, and what is completely subjective based on the environment and the groupthink in the environment. Basically, groupthink being people going along with what the group wants. You can call it social conditioning, you can call it brainwashing, but basically women are all kind of like herd mentality into following, follow the leader, go with what the group says and not stand out and make waves. So one of the first things that I found to be pretty crazy is the differences in flake rates across different cultures. You experience different flake rate, meaning like you get a phone number from a cold approach, you get a match on a dating app, or you're talking on Instagram. What have been countries
show up?
Yeah, or they just ghost you in the middle of the conversation. Have you seen what countries have you seen where? I guess you were saying the Philippines, right? Is pretty crazy. If you cold approach a girl in the Philippines, or even match her on fucking like what should be like Tinder, the most low conversion thing. How many of your...
This is crazy. Philippines. I don't date in Philippines, so I was in Manila for about a week, and I haven't dated a single girl there. I'm not really too attracted to that. However, my friend, he's like 5'9". He's reasonably attractive.
White guy?
He's white hair. And he was absolutely fucking killing it. Like, he was just destroying it every single day. It is like the easiest market, I would say, that I found.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And so you weren't actually going on dates with them, but put it this way, if you would get some, so you're just doing it for content. You were filming for content, basically.
I didn't really film much content there, actually. I didn't really like to film. I found really like, this is not my place.
Okay, it was too easy.
I hated it. Yeah, I didn't really like it.
Okay.
I feel like if you don't go to the Philippines, you have to go to the island.
Yeah.
But in Manila, it is like a demo.
Cebu was better.
Yeah, it's not okay.
Anyway, so whether, Asian girls are your thing or not, it doesn't really matter. But I can, attest for the fact that, Tinder matches, extremely high rate of seeing, wanting to see you. In Africa, actually, I went to Nairobi, Kenya, and I was telling you this before we started recording. If you get a Bumble match in Nairobi, Kenya, they find it weird that like you wouldn't just immediately schedule a date that she's 99% going to show up on. I was making an analogy that it's like a business thing. Like if I say, hey, Max, you're in Medellin, I'm in Medellin too. We're both in Mars until the work. Let's collab. Let's shoot a video together. All right, yeah, I'll be there. What are the odds of one of us just going to ghost the other one and not show up?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Like if I had food poisoning or got robbed, like that'd be like, the only reason. But in Africa, it works the same way. In contrast, Guadalajara, Mexico, most parts of Brazil, not so much the north of Brazil, but say like Goiânia, Brazil, has the hottest girls in Brazil, but it's the biggest catfish. I could get 100 to 150 matches in like over a 2-week period there.
Right.
I didn't do too much cold approach there in Goiânia, but point being, Instagram, dating apps, it was like a 99% flake rate.
Really?
It was like unbelievable. My friends have experienced the same thing. And also I was telling you this before, in Guadalajara, Mexico, fuck online, fuck, like just, real raw, the man way, cold approach, right? Well, certainly if you insta-date a girl and, she's this beautiful girl, you met her at the shopping mall, you get her Instagram, but she says, hey, you got my Instagram? And she's like, all right, cool, bye, we'll schedule a date. But she's like, wait, why don't we just go out right now? and she instigates you. Fuck, I should take her. If she has a pickup course, I should take her course. They should take her boot camp. She's picking me up at this point. She invites me on a date. I'm like, okay, well, it's been good. Got to get back to my friends because my friends are out there are cold approaching girls. I kind of did want to get back to my friends because I had bad logistics in this particular situation I'm thinking of. She's with her friend, so I couldn't really pull her when she's with her friend.
Yeah.
3-hour date, ghosted. Would just never happen.
In Cancun, I approached 3 girls in Cancun. I got one of the girls' numbers, and then her friend really fancied me. So she actually walked like 30 minutes across the beach to try to find me to get my number.
That's what you coach all 3 of them. You get the number of the one you like, you let them go, and then the other one.
And she came back, and I met her on a date afterwards.
Yeah, and it ended successfully. Or
mate, it's crazy. So like sometimes, I mean, obviously, like that's obviously like an exception to the rule, I guess. But yeah, Cancun is not really a good place, I would say.
So you didn't like it overall. But what was the flake rate overall in Cancun? I mean, that's obviously.
I wouldn't say flake rate. It's just not many women that I liked in general.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really like how they looked, so I was just like, I don't want to be here.
So the whole underlying premise of this video is like, yeah, we're talking about differences and similarities across, cultures and stuff, but something I've talked about, I'm sure you would agree on, which actually tell me if you'd agree to this or not. That's something I say in all my videos. If I could magically install a perfect jawline in you, the viewer's face, you, John, watching the video, if I can give John a perfect jawline, or I could give John more height, more money, more status. Status would be a tricky one. Maybe status would be the one, but my thing is location makes the biggest difference.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah, like you have to go to where the hot girls are. Like, why would you game in a city that has no hot chicks? It doesn't make sense, So you have to move. That's like the #1 thing you have to do. And then you start from there.
Have you noticed big differences in how you're perceived and treated in different places?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well,
because you said one city, because, okay, no homo, you look at Max, maybe in the editing this video, we'll go to his Instagram and post some of his like physique shots and more of his like photos and stuff like that. I don't know how much you can see right here, but he's not an ugly cat by any means, quite the opposite. He's definitely what you would consider a Chad. So he's probably going to do well in most places, but you said there was one city where you were just like rejection central, right?
So
talk about that, yeah. Moldova. So Moldova,
difficult, very difficult place.
So you're a smidgen under 6 feet tall. You can deadlift 520 pounds, 230 kilos.
Yeah.
So he can deadlift 230 kilos. He's young, he's 29, he's got piercing blue eyes, no homo asterisk, all this. Sick confidence. He records cold approach infield videos for a living, built up, like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of viewers across all channels. It's literally his job to be charismatic and be in the gym and work on increasing his sexual market value for a living. And this guy is shouldn't it be universal that, guys that are doing pretty well financially, guys that are jacked, guys that are young, guys that are successful, guys that have an amazing mouthpiece, guys that live this and this thing, shouldn't it universally be like, oh, it's just so logical, like these high SMV sexual market value guys just do well everywhere? No, talk about Moldova, bro.
So Eastern Europe in general is going to be a lot more difficult than the rest of the world. Like I would say it's probably the most difficult place to get laid because girls are not stupid. Like the girls are dating for the long-term relationship. They want to get to know you, get to know your parents, etc. So they're not going to be dating just for casual sex, okay? So when you go there, especially to a place like Moldova, Chisinau, so many beautiful women is absolutely fucking crazy.
Yes.
However, like I got a video on Instagram where I think most of my rejections were literally from that place.
Yeah, I saw that. You were showing that to me.
And don't get me wrong, I still got a few numbers and I was successful, but you have to stay there for a long time. So I would recommend if you are going to go there, your game better be very, very good. Like it's not for a newbie because you're just going to get absolutely destroyed. And you need to stay there for at least like three months minimum.
I believe it, yeah.
And most of the game that you're going to be doing there should really be social circle.
Okay, gotcha.
The girls don't really want to meet guys on the street. Like they're not that open to it. Like in Poland, yes. But in Moldova, they're like super.
So talk about that, because again, these are all universes. So in Moldova, and why again, it's groupthink. Like, you know, maybe I didn't define it well enough in the video, but
It's just not normal.
yeah, it's just not normal. Like in group, like in certain tribes in Africa, you've seen this in Africa where they put like the lip disc in their lips. Have you seen this before? This is okay. We'll put it editing in the video.
Yeah.
This is a real thing where they put they slowly stretch out the bottom lip by putting a little plate, like a little circle of this until their lip just like sags at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's no way, there's nothing in your DNA blueprint that could make you think that's attractive. That's all social conditioning or groupthink. And you're saying that in Poland, the groupthink, the social conditioning is like, yeah, why not meet a stranger? If a stranger approaches you on the street, yeah, at least more open. Maybe it's not the best thing ever. Like in Polish culture, they just love to meet strangers, but it's at least like fairly social acceptable. But you're saying in Moldova, it's not the case. They really prefer to meet through friends.
Yeah, they really do prefer that. And I think the best results you'll get is if you do apply that technique into your dating life. So you have to really meet them through social circle, get to know some guys as well in there, like be friendly with everybody. You can't really just do it and just go to the street and just, it's like you cannot pick up girls like that in a way.
Yeah. And you're saying like, they don't want casual sex, like when they date for marriage and stuff like that. They wouldn't even stop to talk to you. Maybe they look at you and they can just smell fuckboy from a mile away. Maybe you just smell like a fuckboy. I don't know, but.
Well, to be honest though, I had about 3 very, very good dates that were successful, and I was from cold approach. But again, the amount of women I had to speak to get that is like, oh my God, ridiculous. And they're still not going to be the highest quality chicks. You know what I mean? So like the highest quality girls usually were on Instagram, most of them, with a lot of followers, and they know they're hot and they're creating content, So it's not like in Moldova, like everyone is just like, oh my God, like I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna be like the only foreigner there and it's gonna be so fucking easy. So that's why I say I do not recommend most guys even go to those places.
Yeah. And how many times a day do you get some variation of the comment of, oh, he can do that in Latin America, he can do that in Asia, he can do that in Eastern Europe, he has foreigner advantage.
Yeah.
But, like, it's actually hard. Like, you would do better. Your actually results got better in Miami, at least from like
Miami.
Oh
my God, Miami was easy, bro. It was
so
easy mode for me. It was like every single girl I would speak to, pretty much like 8 out of 10 times I would get a number and I would get a date.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
However, let's talk about something that was interesting, and I think I had a note on it. Whatever, I'll just looking at my notes here. I don't think I had a note on it, but I'll just go off of my memory. You were saying that, because again, we're talking about the whole topic of the video is like attraction isn't universal, it's variable, it depends on the city, it's very location based and cultural based, and groupthink is what dictates it. So in Miami, you could approach very easy and get an instantly great reaction. In Moldova, you couldn't. However, now let's do the flip-flop. When it comes time to actually get the first date, if you could get a first date, it would be difficult in Moldova. The girl's probably not expecting that you drop 250 to 300 USD on the first date. She's probably okay just getting something simple, a lunch, a coffee, right?
The most expensive restaurant in Moldova, you pay like £15 for a steak. It's crazy.
But would she be expecting you to take, would her expectation be that she's gonna, for the first date, you must take her to what's expensive for her standards, or
Not really. No, they're more genuine there, I think.
So so they're more genuine. They're way harder and less receptive on a cold approach. But if you can get it, they're like, oh, let's just get a drink. Let's go through a walk in the park. Let's get a coffee. Miami, the complete opposite. Because again, nothing is fucking universal. Goddammit, they're super receptive on the approach. Keep going. Now talk what happens after that. After this great approach, now what happens?
So the problem is with Miami is that, like, if you want to live that lifestyle, you better have a lot of money and you have to spend money. The thing is, I don't like to spend money. It's like I don't mind spending money on the girl that I have true, genuine interest in, but I don't like to spend money on the first date. The whole dynamic is very weird. Like, I don't like to pay for the date. It's like $300 minimum just to go on a date, and you don't even know if you're gonna get anything after that. So it's just like, the whole dynamic is like very, very weird. Whereas in Poland, Moldova, Slovakia, like all these different countries in Eastern Europe, the girls don't expect that much. They won't fuck you straight away, but you can get to know them. I don't have to spend loads of money on them. And then once she's your girlfriend, cool. I can take her on a trip and take her everywhere. But That's just the whole.
Yeah, this is why, because I'll see, and you probably see reels like this. You know, one influencer will say, you know, because we make dating content, so we probably see a lot of dating content.
Yeah.
Maybe you, the viewer, see, you know, dating content, YouTube Shorts, IG Shorts, and some guys will say like, never spend money on the first date. That's probably the only coffee on the first date. Otherwise, you're being used, and you know she doesn't deserve it yet. I mean, again, you can make that argument, but here's the thing.
I had dinner with the chick
Good
last
luck.
night.
Good luck getting a girl. Well, it's like
Cheap.
yeah. Well, we're here in Medellin, but I'm saying like, good luck getting a girl out in Miami if you're not spending cash. Because guys live in like their little suburb of New Jersey, or they live in, you know, XYZ place, and they think this is all universal. No, like in some countries, that's great advice. Yeah, because you want to filter women, you don't want to get gold diggers. Just offer something simple, and that'll work in certain markets. So Sao Paulo, Brazil. Yeah, I dare you. I double dog fucking dare you to match with a 9 on an app in Brazil, or meet her on Instagram, which is, we barely even use dating apps. We use some of it, but I think we do a lot better on Instagram and cold approach, right? Yeah. Try cold approaching or meeting a 9 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, or Rio de Janeiro, and recommending coffee. Take you out for a bagel at a coffee shop and see how many of those girls show up, right?
I remember the first day I went to Rio. We went to a club in, I think, Lebanon. Is it Lebanon? Is that the area?
I don't know the clubs there. Leblon.
Yes, Lebanon.
Leblon.
Yeah.
That's the.
And it was like one of the best clubs there. I forgot the name of the club. It's like a big
I don't
club.
know clubbing, so.
And I just pulled like a stunning girl, like a 8.5, 9, I would say. No money at all, but the girl was a little bit more like Americanized, like she spoke a bit of English, and she's from Sao Paulo. But that's like, again, that is an exception to the fucking rule.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen all the time. So
yeah, this is. Look, we're gonna get into some more stuff. Actually, I want to come back to that because what a lot of guys going ahead here, we'll come back to the differences. We're gonna, you know, end on, you know, the universal stuff. I'll come up to one universal thing and then I'll go back. I rarely see this. When was the last time you saw a truly beautiful girl, like 7.5 to 8 hard? RCLs are fucking strict. So when we say 7.5, we mean like 7.5s are fucking baddies. Yeah. So by our scale, a 7.5 or better, that long-term, not short-term fling, but long-term was dating a guy that wasn't doing very well financially. When was the last time you saw that?
It's very rare.
Yeah. Extremely rare, extremely rare. So, but here's the thing, right? Guys will say, oh, my Giga Chad friend can go to the club, like this guy maybe. Oh, I saw, you know, Max Keswick go to the club in Rio and, you know, flex his pecs, and then, you know, some girl grabbed him and pulled him in the bathroom and sucked his dick. That doesn't mean that she doesn't have like a sugar daddy on the side paying her bills. That doesn't mean she isn't do you know how many girls that like we've discovered on like, you know, sugar baby? Well, me, I'm not speaking. Have you ever had that where like you're fucking some chick, you're dating some chick, and then for some reason
afterwards,
yeah, she was a sugar baby. Yeah, like you see, like, you know, John S.A. like S.A.'s in Seeking Arrangement has texted her,
right.
Or you'll just see things, you know, on her phone, like she'll have like, you know, Fernando $$, like
I'm not seeing that shit.
oh, live in Brazil, man. Live in Brazil, yeah.
Like, oh, you know, my God.
Like
just imagine being that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But it's the $sign with like the wings flying away, like the spending money sign. And like me, for example, I'll hire models to be in photo shoots for my clients. What I do, my business, my viewers know this already. I build a high status social media presence for men, and we'll get models at the photo shoots. I'll go to Sugar Daddy websites to like hire like the models and shit. Right. You won't believe how many times I've seen girls that I fucked. Wow. On the Sugar Daddy website. Like, it's wild all the time. But you know, they still will fuck, you know, whatever Chad's in and stuff for free. Let's talk another one that's near and dear to my heart. Masculine and feminine. There was once upon a time where I would have argued to the death, like 25-year-old Casey would have argued to the death that like, no, universally, it is in a woman's DNA and her genetic blueprint to be attracted to masculine men and find feminine characteristics to be a turnoff. Absolutely nothing. Have you noticed how fucking zesty the guys are here in the city of Medellin? I don't know if you've been here long enough. You had any interaction with them?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, the way they talk, like, you know, I'll do like the English version, but they'd be like, hey, like, nice to meet you. Like, oh, what's up? What's your name? Like, they have that affect. They're zesty as fuck, and even now, I don't know.
I think that's why it's easier, I think, for most guys in Colombia than it is in Brazil, because I think in Brazil they're a little bit more.
They're definitely more masculine in Brazil.
Yeah, they're taller as well.
For sure, taller. They're looking more money.
So I say to the guys, like, it's not so easy in Brazil as well. You know, if you go.
No, it's definitely not. Well, the north of Brazil is amazing, but the south isn't because it's obviously pay for play.
Yeah.
And it's just pay for play. It's a big pay for play thing,
Right.
kind of like here. But I mean, okay, so you're not super. How much time do you spend in Medellin all in all?
Like 7 weeks maybe.
7 weeks
in total.
In total, okay.
Yeah.
So I lived here for 7 years.
Yeah. Well,
Quite a bit of extra experience, but
Old
when I walk through the mall, you've walked through the mall a lot. When you're doing, Calle Diaz, Parque Poblado, that.
Well, last time we walked out of the gym, bro, it's just like two fucking chicks there.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, they just stare at you. It's just wow.
But what I'm saying is, when you're typically we're in the mall and you're always looking around for chicks, your eyes are scanning. You see a beautiful girl. Is she typically with a gringo or another Colombian dude? Because what I see for the most part is just hot Colombian chick with zesty, short, feminine-looking Colombian dude.
Yeah, no, I've seen quite a lot of that as well. Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of that. It's not like the gringos are dominating here.
No.
For that. I think most gringos, what they do is they come here, they pay for sex. And
Yes, exactly. That's what they do.
Like, they don't really date here.
They don't. No,
Yeah.
no. They're all tricks. They all go join the Facebook groups. All they do is trick and pay for play, and then they virtue signal that they're the only one not doing it, and get like all these other gringos ruining, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
And that's what they're coming here for.
Yeah.
It's just like
Exactly. So
I'm missing out on a lot though, because you can actually find good girls here as well, man. You have to,
I kind of beg a differ
you
on that
have
one.
to really try hard.
Yeah.
But you can find the good girls, if you.
We'll get up on a tangent, but like I have a theory that there are high quality girls here. They just wouldn't be caught dead with a gringo.
Right.
So like I've approached girls that are beautiful, speak English here, which is far less than 1% of the population. They clearly come from money. They just carry themselves like a woman. Just the way they walk, the way they're dressed, their vibe, energy. Those girls always flake me off. Just because it goes back to groupthink, right? Like groupthink here is like date a short, weird looking, feminine, broke Colombian guy over a taller, more handsome, more masculine gringo, because that's what my groupthink has told me to like.
Do you think that if you lived here for longer, and that could maybe change things a little?
No, not here. Not here. No, I think it's too late. It's kind of like what's another example? So I'll make an analogy. I'll bring it back.
Right.
I was talking this before we were recording it. If I'm in a club in the Philippines, it's like every girl I talk to lights up like a Christmas tree. They're like, "Oh my God, you look just like Brad Pitt." And I'm trying like not to cry. I'm like, yeah, I look just like Brad Pitt. Everybody tells me that. Even back in the States, I've been hearing that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a regular Brad Pitt. But then and I told you this before we were recording, every once in a while I approach a girl and she recoils in horror at the sight of me, because I'll be at a nightclub approaching, and I'm like, why did that girl like recoil in horror and like just run away? Then I do a couple more, and then I realize the girls that like jumped away and recoiled in horror were the Korean girls in the nightclub, because Korean girls go to the Philippines to learn English, because basically everybody in the Philippines speaks English. Right. They can get dirt cheap English lessons, English classes there in the Philippines. They can like, immerse themselves in an English speaking country, which the Philippines basically is, and, do it really cheap. And again, why? They're both Asians. They both are from a similar region. They both have a similar history where the U.S. bailed them out in a major war, a major conflict. They should. We saved their ass in the Korean War. We saved the Filipinos in the war against Japan. It's just groupthink. One culture decided white guys are hot and sexy, blue eyes are great characteristics. We're Asian, we're shorter, we have, eyes that are shaped differently, but we like their features and we find them hot. And one culture said, no, we only like our own kind. And I feel like it's the same in Medellin. They have a term called regionalista, regionalist. They don't even like fucking costeños or people from Bogota here, bro.
Right.
They really, I mean, look, I don't think you live in reality. Again, they're gonna.
Because I was literally walking with my girl yesterday when I went for a dinner, and she tells me this all the time. She's like, "Oh, look, another girl is looking at you," and it's like, "Oh yeah, those looks," because they're kind of jealous that I'm actually with the girl. When I'm walking along, I don't really get too much of that, but when I'm walking with the girl, oh my God, it's like so many girls are looking straight away, and she always gets pissed off. If I was walking with a hot chick in Poland or like anywhere else in Eastern Europe, most people will look at the girl. It's always the girl. That's like the fucking trophy.
Interesting.
But here is kind of like the other way around, I guess, maybe. For me, at least. I don't know.
No, I think you're going to draw a lot of attention almost no matter where you go. But for you, and again, maybe you could, you're here for like a whole month, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll post an update, or maybe we'll talk about it. I'd be curious if you can find like what I would call like a high value woman, if that even exists, like a woman of quality. Let's just say a quality girl, not let's say high value. Let's say a quality girl in terms of like she's got little to no tattoos, no piercing, she's under 25,
Low body count.
low body count. She doesn't show her whole body on social media. She understands at least the very, very basic English. She's read a book. She has something interesting to say. Her story highlights on her social media aren't like Dubai, Paris, fucking San Andreas Island, you know, this and that.
Yeah. She's been everywhere.
Yeah.
The guy's paying for all that shit.
Which is funny because it's like every story highlight of a different city is like another jizz shot you took to the face. Like, they think we don't know this, right?
They do it, yeah.
They think we don't know this.
It's so common nowadays. It's fucked.
Let's talk about something else here. You don't remember the old David D'Angelo stuff, the cocky funny? Do you remember that?
David D'Angelo. I have no clue who that is.
Okay, so cocky funny was when you make something, you do it very cocky, almost like arrogant, but it's in like so over the top that it's like considered in like a joking way.
Right, yeah.
So you could say like, what would be an example of cocky funny? You could be like, I'm drawing a blank right now, like, you've never dated a guy with a beard before? Oh, well, you know, it's okay. I mean, I'm not that far out of your league, you know, it's okay. You can step up to dating guys that, you know, have actually reached puberty before and stop dating these beardless prepubescent boys. It's okay. I don't be intimidated, baby. It's okay. It's like so cocky and so arrogant, but it's clearly that you're joking.
Yeah. That shit here does not
fucking work.
Yeah.
Does not work.
So simple, like a fucking
yes.
Hello, how are you? Just this.
Oh, yes. This is why the guys that teach dating in America or Canada or Western, what happens if you just be very simple and direct and sweet and romantic to go straight off the bat in Canada, United States, UK? What happens if we tried that?
Boring. Yeah, the girls just fucking leave.
Write you off.
Yeah.
You this is like a bit of an exaggeration, but tell me if you agree. Again, a bit of an exaggeration. I'm doing this for, you know, exaggerate for, you know, comedic purposes, but the vibe and the undertone is you basically walk up to a girl in America, UK, and say, you are an ugly bitch and I have more options than you.
Yeah, and she's gonna be like,
who the fuck is that? Please, yeah, please, don't give me a chance, give me a chance. The more you let them, again, you sub-communicate this. I mean, depending on how high your status is, you could.
Depends how you say.
Yeah.
And if you're like, you know, saying this was like a fucking, you know, like a weird voice or whatever. Then.
But point being, what do they call it in the UK? It's called banter, right? The banter.
Banter. Yeah.
Explain to them what's the banter.
Oh, it's just like, that's what I miss sometimes. No, it's kind of like with English girls, I can have banter. Like I can actually have.
But define what it is. What does it mean?
Like a playful kind of, you know, like a back and forth, you know, between you and a girl, I guess.
But like negging, shit testing.
Yeah,
like playfully,
like that,
playfully insulting, right?
Just being dismissive and all this kind of stuff. And she will do that back to you as well. And you can, you know, very much
like verbally sparring almost, right?
Yes.
Kind of like, I'm gonna tease you. I'm gonna tease you. Yeah. And it's almost like whoever's more witty and better at teasing.
And by the way, it's not the language, because you're doing it in Spanish fluently, and it still doesn't work.
Nope.
So it's not the language. It's not like, oh, I can't speak Spanish and that's what I'm not getting a result, you know?
So XYZ fuckboy, you know, YouTuber will say, you know, because again, in New York City, in Los Angeles, California, he's a club promoter. He's dealing with these girls that have, you know, 200K followers plus a blue chick, or just a normal hot girl in Redondo Beach, California, some, you know, American chick. And yeah, if you don't kind of have that sarcastic, bantery, playfully insulty, almost like neg theory, like pick up neg theory attitude, you're just another boring chump. There's no chase. It's boring. You wouldn't even get on her radar.
But that's why you have American game and international game.
Yep.
You know, and that's why when you actually travel to all of these different places, you learn that, oh shit, you know, you have to use a different strategy in different fucking city and in different country.
Yeah, it can fuck you
up.
up.
Not all the same.
It can fuck you up, yeah. And like I was saying, it's always going to come back to group thing. Like if there's one thing that I've noticed from traveling here, like if someone tells me like, you know, what is a good dating market or what makes a good place to date, it's if the group think of that city has brainwashed the girl into thinking you are a high value guy, whether you're black, whether you're Indian, whether high value to her is 100K a year. That's not the case in Miami. Her group think has brainwashed her in thinking that $1 million a year is high value. I can be in one city in Brazil where they hate foreigners. I have really good Portuguese. You saw me post that video where I was picking up in Portuguese.
Yeah, I saw that,
it's fucking smooth, right? I heard my Spanish and shit.
Very nice.
The second they hear a gringo accent,
well.
yeah. What'd you say?
chick is nice
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
she was great. But then I could, they just basically they want nothing to do with me. I can meet some girls online, and specifically like Sao Paulo. Cold approach is just instant blowout, instant rejection, no matter what. I can get on a plane, go 2 or 3 cities over, a couple hours over to a new city in Brazil. I'm a fucking rock star. I'm approaching legitimate beauty pageant winners, taking them out for a fucking cheeseburger and banging them out the same night. Why? In one city, the group think is gringos, who cares? They're not that special. Americans, blah, blah, blah. Maybe like their international relations at the time isn't good, or they see Americans as arrogant. Who knows why? But then another city, they're the shit.
Yeah.
Actually, what city did you feel like you got the best foreigner advantage in?
The best foreign adventure of all of the cities I've been to. I would say, I think Košice, Slovakia. That was fucking amazing.
The girls just sound sexy.
Yeah.
City.
Košice, Slovakia. It's like very close to Krakow in Poland.
Okay.
It is absolutely amazing. You get there and it's like, I think me and my friend went in on a Saturday night, I think it was, yeah. And we saw like probably a ratio of like 80% girls and 20% men.
Oh, this is what you were telling me. Yeah, you told me about that.
Just unfucking
and they were like high
and
quality
like
too.
high quality girls, low body counts, charismatic, smart women, very classy. It was just like, what the hell was going on here? You know, I could live here for a long time. I think that's where Tristan Tate lived for like 6 months. I think the reason why we went there is basically, because Tate fucking mentioned it on the podcast.
Following the Tate's footsteps.
And we actually thought that would destroy the city, but we went there and it was fucking amazing still. Because the thing is, with Eastern Europe in general, like if you don't have much game, you're not gonna do that well anyway. Like you have the fucking advantage, yeah, cool, but you still have to have game to actually pull a girl like that. She's not gonna be so easy. Okay. Just because she's there. That's
so you're saying you had a really good, so they're very receptive to you, but you don't think they're going to be receptive to any schmuck of a foreigner?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Versus like Thailand, they're going to be receptive to you, but also any schmuck of a foreigner.
Yeah. Like you cannot listen to any dating coach that lives in Thailand.
Yeah. Jesus, yeah.
Bro, you don't have to use game there.
Yeah.
You don't have to use game at all. Like you're just there. Like you show up, done.
Or maybe if you're an Indian guy, you have to use game though. I don't know.
There's a lot of Indians in Pattaya. There's a lot of Indians.
Yeah, but doesn't mean the girls like. I get it. We don't know. We'd have to investigate what the group think and what the opinion is. But I agree. It's certainly a white guy or
they
black
do
guy.
like money though. Yeah, I think Thai women in general they do like money. I'm not trying to be,
All women like money, bro. That's one of the universal things we're gonna get to. Let's wrap up on a couple more subjective, non-universal things, and then we'll go into the universal. Sounds good. Hey guys, back to the video in about 10 seconds, but first, if you want to get a photo shoot with me that led to amazing results for my buddy Alex, he actually got a hot Brazilian girlfriend within a week of doing his photo shoot with me, then go to my Instagram, RedbeardRants1, and DM me the word photo shoot. All right, back to the video. All right, so the one we're going to on next is the time to initiate physical contact. So in a place like Rio, Sao Paulo, if you buy a girl a drink,
just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Instantly.
Crazy. Never seen anything like it.
If you buy a girl a drink, she's in your frame, she's laughing at your joke, she touches your arm, she's like, oh, stop, and she like touches you, and you don't kiss her within 5 or 10 minutes, she'll think you're gay, she'll move on to the next person.
I had a chick I was making out with in that club. This is the same night I pulled that girl. And literally, I look away, and 10 minutes after, she's fucking making out with some other guy. Yeah. And I was like, nah, so she must have fucking made out with. But then I just realized they all do that shit. Yeah. So it's just normal.
Yeah. So, but what do you think happens if you try to kiss a girl within 10 minutes in Moldova?
Probably gonna get fucking arrested. That's what's gonna fucking happen. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be lucky to get a kiss on the cheek at the end of the fucking date. And
like
Ukraine
or whatever.
Yeah,
dating
sure.
for marriage.
I mean, guys, there are exceptions to the rule. Like, I have had sex with girls from Moldova the same day. Oh, wow. But that is like a girl that is a little bit more like Americanized, potentially she traveled a little bit more when she sees me and she's like, wow, but it's not going to be like, the general sort of, rule.
Yeah, and look, there's always going to be the odd Thai girl that wants to date a Thai guy, the odd Filipino girl that thinks white guys are disgusting and wants to date another Filipino guy. There's always going to be those exceptions, right?
Or you just have such good connection, bro. Like, I had a chick that was, bro, like a 9 out of fucking 10, and that chick has super low body count, and we fucked on the second date. And I was just like, how the fuck did that happen?
Why
You
didn't
know?
you marry her,
And
bro?
she even said, this is the problem.
Yeah.
This is the problem. I think if I did someone else for my job, then maybe that, yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Say her number back. I'm an investment banker now. I don't need to record infield anymore.
Oh shit.
I'm getting my law degree. All right,
Yeah.
let's do some universal ones, shall we? So, and let me know what your thoughts on this too. And we may agree wholeheartedly, we may not agree. We already talked about this. You said earlier in the video that the amount of times you've seen an extremely attractive girl long-term and like a long-term relationship be with a guy who wasn't fucking crushing it financially, extremely rare.
Mm-hmm.
You already said this, right?
Well, in Poland in general, you would see a lot of beautiful women with like really ugly guys, very average guys. They don't really care about your looks too much. They care mostly about how you behave and can you provide. Like they want a provider for their kids, for their family. That's like the whole culture. So that's why you see a lot of Russian women that are fucking 10 out of 10 with some guy that's like a 4 or a 3.
Yeah.
They don't care. You know, the guy's fucking fat and everything.
Yeah.
They don't really care. But in a place like America, girls do like the looks. I did find that. The same with UK. Like I would get approached a lot in the UK and just get laid from that. You know, like a lot. They don't care if I make money or like anything like that.
Yeah.
But the culture is way different.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was gonna say that a dating coach in Miami could be like, look, it's all about gym, putting on muscles, taking supplements, Luke's maxing, all this, and looking as big and buff and jacked. And what he may be talking about, jaw implants, if it was going crazy. I think I go crazy with this Luke's maxing stuff. And that's the key. And that's how you attract women in Los Angeles or Miami. And then the other dating coaching Poland could be like, listen, guys, this looks thing is way overrated. They just want a good guy that they can depend. Look, don't be a fat piece of shit. Hit the gym, do what you can, learn about style, but just, do the basics. They just want a guy that's going to provide for them, be loyal, and treat them well, someone that their family's going to get along with. That's what they want. And both those dating coaches could be right in their given environments. It's like the whole premise of the video.
Yeah. It really depends on like what the girl wants as well, and I think like looks are just like a cherry on top as well. If you have everything else and then it's like
I would argue that in Miami, it's a lot more than the cherry on top. I would argue that for Miami,
you think,
I don't think that there is a cherry. I think like looks is extremely important. Status is extremely important. Money is extremely important. They're the most.
Would you say that status is more important? I think that's what I would.
In Miami, for sure, yeah.
Because maybe in the money, bro.
Yeah.
So many Lambos, so many Ferraris.
Oh yeah, every 2 seconds they're going by. Yeah. So sugar baby. Okay, so yeah, I just had some notes here. Yeah, like I mean, a quick story. I was in the so back to this thing. What we're talking about is universal. Girls like money. Girls like a guy that could provide. Girls highly prefer to spend your money than to spend their money. It's not sexy. Women don't like to share their resources with the man.
They never did in the past as well. So it's like, why would they now?
So that's something that's very, now the extent of exactly how much that matters or what they, like in Africa, 90K a year, maybe like, yo, bro is loaded. So what they consider to be loaded and just how much money you have to have could be subjective. But like for you guys that want to date a truly beautiful woman and you don't make at least 50, 60K a year in a foreign country, or at the very minimum 150K in the US, UK, unless you're like some ultra giga chat or you have some weird situational status where you're like a DJ at these underground parties and girls just love you and follow you because you DJ at the unless you have some weird situational one-off thing, you're kind of fucked, in my opinion. I don't think you're game. I think you can get a lot of like one-night stands and stuff just off game, but I don't think if you're doing well financially, you're going to retain a hot girl in Los Angeles, London.
That's another thing. A lot of guys just get laid and then they cannot retain for the long term, because the girl actually wants some sort of stability.
Yep.
You have to have some money.
They don't
At
work.
least they can't be a fucking brokey.
They don't work. I mean, every, like I'm walking through this airport in Guadalajara, Mexico, and like we look around, like we are the most observant people in the world. We're looking like, okay, what types of guys are getting the hot chicks here? Are there any hot chicks alone? Can I approach her? Is she with friends? What's going on? So I'm walking through the airport and I see no girl of like, that really stands out. I'm just kind of, okay, there's normal girls slightly, but no girl that really calls my attention. Then I use my Chase Sapphire Reserve card to get into the VIP lounge there, like the expensive, like, these VIP lounges at the airport. What do you think the first thing I see when I walk in? Is it another mid chick or is it a super hot chick with some fat guy? What do you think in the VIP lounge? Take a wild guess.
Fit chick with fat guy.
It's a hot chick with some fat dude chilling VIP.
Mm.
Then later I board the plane and I see 2 hot chicks. Dude, are these the chicks I see right away riding up front in business class? Is that where I saw the hot chicks? Or were they back in coach with me? Where did I see the hot chicks? So, you know, money is always a universal thing. You got to get your money right. Again, like, you know, we're not snake oil salesmen. We're not here to tell you, you know, oh, only just like say nice things to women and they're going to like you. Like, I talked about some videos, you know, you got to look smacks to the best degree you can, shed fat, build muscle, learn. You see how hard I work out, right? You're like, mate, chill. Like, you're like, you're going 6 days a week this hard. Like, I try to die. I try to kill myself in the gym.
Can't tell him to just do 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
But yeah, you know, you do, you know, level up as much as, you know, possible and everything. And we're not snake oil salesmen. Like if you want to work with us, you know, you want to take a boot camp with him or some coaching with him or some coaching with me, and you're a 55-year-old fat Indian guy in San Francisco who's short and makes no money, we're not going to tell you can date 21-year-old sorority girls.
Yeah,
It's
not.
It is what it
It's
is.
just not realistic, is it?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Africa. So you went there.
Yeah.
For a long
Yeah. What do you want to know about Africa?
How is it? Because I've only been to Morocco, and Morocco for me was like the 2 ends of extreme. So you got like the religious girls, which I'll be, you know, meeting, you know, during the day and stuff. And they wanted to fucking convert me into their religion, and they wanted to like, you know, get married, all this stuff before we have sex, which is crazy. And then you have like the sluts. Yeah, club. At the club, it's just like all prostitutes.
Interesting. So it's one extreme or the other.
Yeah, it's literally, it's crazy.
There's nothing.
That's how it is.
That's Morocco.
And
And they're
then you
beautiful,
have-
huh?
They're beautiful. They're kind of like similar like to Colombian, maybe like a mixture of.
Yeah, they looked at, yeah, someone was pointing out that like, yeah, as girls, they had the big eyes, right?
Arab,
The
yeah.
Princess
Arab
Jasmine
girls.
eyes. Yeah. I mean, that's Africa, but I don't really,
Yeah.
it's Morocco, Africa.
Oh, okay, it's not really Africa.
Yeah,
it's
it's,
like
on the
richest
continent of
country,
Africa.
isn't it?
Yeah,
And-
but they don't really look African.
But that's another country that, you know, we could also mention. It's like, well, you can't really do the same style. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know, like I think you cannot use the same fucking out. You cannot use the same style of game in Morocco that you can to use in fucking America.
Yeah, like
It's
probably
not gonna
hockey
work.
funny doesn't work and stuff like that. Yeah. So to go to Africa, and I'll tie this into the theme. So there's a restaurant called Slate, Slate, Slate. It's in, I forget the name of the area, but it's in a really nice part of Nairobi, Kenya, right? And I forget if it's like a local term used by all the locals there, or if just it's like an internal like term that my friends use. But there's a term called Slate Queen, like slate as in the restaurant Slate, Slate Queen. Again, did my friends invent it? Did we use it? Or is it known in Nairobi? I don't know. But the point being, a Slate Queen is a girl you see in Slate that looks like a 3-dimensional model, like from a video game character. Like remember like Laura Croft or something, where it's just like the waist is like
videos, mate.
yeah. The ass is like this. It's like she's like put together from like spare parts, but in like the hottest way ever. Like it just doesn't even look like a genetic possibility. Now, some people may be into like the general, like normal looking, like Kenyan girl. Listen, I always say this. I'll be friends with anybody. I like and respect all people, all cultures. I am not a racist man. My penis is racist. I don't like white girls very much. I don't like Asians that much. I don't like super dark black girls that much. They weren't really my style. However, these Slate Queens, oh my God. Even though like dark black girls are not my normal forte, I would die. Like if I could get with one of these Slate Queens, I would erase your number, burn my passport. I would just, I'm going to live here and just, I'm just going to be like Jabba the Hutt, just like fucking this girl, like, and until I die of starvation or, dehydration, that I would just shut it down. But no, so going back to the universal things, like we were at Slate, right? And, obviously it's a super poor African nation, Kenya. I mean, not that poor, but whatever, it's Africa. And these girls are like, they would order like these appetizers, have 2 bites, send it back. Order this entree, send it back. They have this dessert that comes out with like sparklers and like fireworks shooting off of the dessert. And like, obviously with their figure, they're not eating big desserts. They have 2 bites and then, leave like this whole like cake or whatever the fucking thing was, champagne and stuff. And you're just like, yeah, okay, Slate Queens. Anywhere you go, even in Africa, because of social media and just whatever culture, they're going to be found out. And these Slate Queens that may have been, more humble and not, being totally financed by sugar daddies and stuff like that, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, are all, found out. Another thing about Africa that's interesting, considering about like, differences and what's universal, what's not, women approach men in Nairobi, Kenya.
Wow.
There was a girl. Do you know who Austin Holloman is?
Yeah.
You know, the YouTuber?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll introduce you to this one. Really, really cool guy. Really, really good friend. We still speak a lot. I'd hang out with him a lot. Shout out to Austin Holloman. He showed me a really good time there in Nairobi. But there's a girl that we nicknamed the pickup artist that like, it as if she was like Neil Strauss or Mystery. She came up to him, used an indirect opener like, I feel like I've seen you somewhere, but I'm not sure. You look like, you know, someone I know. And he goes, oh, I look like someone you know? She goes, oh yeah, or maybe you just look like the next guy who's gonna break my heart, ha ha ha. So she came up with like an indirect opener, but then made it kind of direct, made it funny. Then she introduced herself to the whole group. She didn't just like focus on us. Hey, introduce me to your friends. She like met me, made good eye contact. She was very warm and friendly with me.
Yeah.
Then the other guy, Bobby, shout out to It's Kid Greatness, Bobby. Shout out to Bobby. She met Bobby real quick, and it's like, I'll sign up for her boot camp.
And think about this, it's like, when is the last time that an average guy would actually get approached by a hot girl in his own country, like England or in USA? It's very, very rare. Like, you have to have some sort of status or be very tall, you know, or have good looks. Like, most guys will never get fucking approached. Never.
How many times do you get approached? Like, let's say you're back home in London, or are you from London? Are you from the UK? Is it London or somewhere else?
So I live near Bournemouth. It's like down south.
Okay.
Of the
No
UK.
idea. So if you're there, how many times are you gonna get approached? I guess it's a suburb, right? It's not even a city, so.
During the day, I used to get approached quite a few times.
Really?
At night time, I'll get quite a lot, but
like there's actually walk up to
like,
you and like, yo, like,
yeah,
it makes some excuse to talk to you.
Yeah.
Are they direct or indirect?
Very direct, very direct, very direct. Yeah, like, you're fit or but that's England, bro. And Poland, nah. I mean,
So Poland,
you get like a look or something, like an invitation, and then you have to make the fuck.
So your results are better and the girls are hotter in Poland, but they don't.
Oh, way hotter, bro.
But they don't approach. Well, yeah, British girls. No offense, but you probably know British girls are pretty much bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, it's like, there are some hot girls in England, but bro, it's like,
There's a
very rare, man. You know, like, because it's so masculine. That's the problem. There's
that's
very,
the
very
problem,
masculine women.
like Americans, basically.
Americans as well, yeah. No, but I would still say, like, bro, like, if I just relied on the girls approaching me, I would not get laid that much. Bro. It would be like maybe a few times a year.
Yeah.
So it's not enough.
So again, I can see some.
Plus, you still have to carry the conversation because the girls are usually very, very shy. So you still have to obviously have game to close that. It's not like the girls will just come to you and they're going to be like, yeah, you know, come to my house and, you know, I'm going to fuck you.
Yeah.
You still have to have game, but yeah, they would approach. But even then, it's like, I wouldn't get more than like maybe a couple of approaches per year, you know, so that's like on the best.
And we can say that, saying on top of it, we can say that's a universal thing, is that social skills, swagger, charisma will always be the base of everything, right? You know, dating app strategies, how to get matches, how to meet girls on Instagram, but all that, like the social skills is the base. All right, let's wrap it up quickly. You know, we talked about money again. We're wrapping up with, like, we talked about what's not universal, what's variable in different areas. Money is not variable, is not variable. Money is one of the few things universal. Height is one of the things that is universal. We don't need to talk about that too much because you either have it or you don't. Well, we can say one thing. Actually, you can go to, you know, if you're a short-ish guy.
There's the fucking guy, yeah, that did the whole surgery.
Yeah. Well, there's that, yeah.
He's fucking making money, bro.
We can't
coaching people how to do it. I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on?
Was that like 200K? For people who don't know what you're talking about, they break your bones and then stretch them out and stuff. But like that, I think that leads to like arthritis later on in life. But one thing we say about the height thing is like, while height is a universal thing of like, you know, what women consider attractive, what they consider tall is not universal. So Peru, Philippines, I'm a fucking giant in Peru.
But gee, I was interviewing this porn star in Miami, and she said I was like too tall for her, and I'm 5'11", and I was like, mate, it's like my friend is literally like 6'4", and he's filming. It's like, how the fuck? So he
normally he's gonna get most of the girls.
Yeah.
The other thing, let's just make this one quick because there's no need to like really harp on it too much. Music, any type of artistic expression, especially musical talent, is such a hack with women. If you can have women over at your place and you can play like a fucking Beatles song on your guitar, that's one thing I never had. Do you have any musical talent? Yeah, that skipped me in the gene pool. I can't, I have no rhythm. I can barely even like two-step to a fucking beat. But that's something, if you already have some musical talent, I would say pursue it up to a point where you don't like completely suck. And it's just cracked away, writing them a poem, writing them a song, saying it's a good excuse to pull. Like some people smoke weed or drink wine, or they have a nice balcony, they have a jacuzzi, have the excuse to pull girls back. Being good at music is like a good generic excuse to pull a girl back, and it's completely fucking universal in any dating market. Girls love. Have you ever seen any dating market where girls don't just love and get on their knees for musicians?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Depends. I mean, I have a friend that does pretty well with that. He's a musician.
Yeah.
And he uses that pretty much.
It's a good thing, yeah. Don't make it a crutch, but it's good to have.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, the big one is status. I made this thing, argument earlier, and you basically agree that location was number one. I would certainly say status is number two. You can look at like rappers, without insulting or saying rappers by name. Many rappers who's have the prefix Lil in front of them, not to even say anyone by name, but if they have Lil in front of their name, many of them, let's be honest, they look like fucking cockroaches, yet they have women lined up around the block for them. Their teeth are all crazy. They have like wild hair going on. It looks like a fucking palm tree or something. But status things, and you can't. So what does that mean? What do you take? Oh, I'm just gonna be famous. I'm just gonna become a rapper. You can create the appearance of having status online by, let's say, like the things that I teach. Right? If you're in my audience, you already know what we're talking about. Like you giving a speech in a seminar room to a room full of people. What does a girl think about that? She knows nothing about you, but she sees your Instagram. Confident. How about the fact that other
because people listen to
leader of men?
Yeah.
What does it say? The fact that other rich businessmen flew in to hear you give a talk.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're rich as well. You have stuff to share.
Yeah.
What does it say about you?
Way more important than the average guy.
Exactly. Or what does it say about you if you're in a podcast studio with a mic? Even if it was a fake podcast, I just rent out podcast studios for my clients for my photo shoots. Yeah. I mean, fun. The girls are using filters. The girls are using Photoshop, lighting, creative angles. They don't portray their honest self on dating apps. Why should we, right? Yeah. But yeah, a guy who got invited on a podcast would signal some type of status to the world.
Yeah, for sure.
We talked about how, it's your flaws. And that's pretty much it. Just to wrap up the thing, it's like, look, we're not against by any means leveling up. I mean, we live in how many hours a week? Well, actually, you don't even go to gym that much. Like 3 days a week?
For this gym, and then I'll do fighting twice a week. So like 5 hours, let's say.
Okay, so he's doing cardio, fighting, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and also lifting weights.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've cultivated, your mouthpiece, your social skills a lot. I think you've had hair transplants and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've done that.
You grew a beard, learn how to style yourself. I'm sure you've done, all types of things, whether it's social skills, your money. You spent a lot in like learning how to edit videos, learning how to clean up audio, what's going to go viral. So it's like, we're not saying don't learn business skills or don't get jacked or, don't improve your mouthpiece. But at the end of the day, understand, like, if you're in a place where the groupthink of that culture says Indian guys aren't attractive, masculine guys aren't attractive, the woman should be the leader. Like in America, it's kind of like the narrative now, it's like 50-50, like the man, it's like toxic masculinity. If you want to be the aggressive male leader, you could like fight and try to swim against the currents.
Or the girls are very nationalistic.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was the two countries? I said Moldova
and Serbia.
And Serbia. Yeah, we were talking off camera because when the camera overheated, we were having a slight conversation. In Serbia, extremely nationalistic, meaning they prefer their own kind. That's what nationalistic, they're prideful of their own country. Yeah. Whereas Thailand, Philippines,
it's like they don't mind dating.
Not only do they not mind, they highly prefer it. Yeah. So again, we're not saying don't level up. We're not saying don't work on this, but understand it's, to me at least, success in dating is like burning the candle at both ends. One is the leveling up like we talked about, and the other one is just putting yourself in the right goddamn environment in the first place and realizing, like, is this a normal flake rate? Is this a not normal flake rate? Is it normal to have this level of sugar babies? Is this a weird thing? Is it normal for them to hate white guys and foreigners as much? Is it like, what's universal, what's not? And just get in where you fit in.
Like literally, I saw a video, going back to Serbia, on Serbia, this one guy did like an interview with a bunch of women saying like, would you prefer to date your own or the foreigner? And every single girl said like, I prefer to date my own. Every single one, like 100%. And I was like, fuck that. I'm still going there. I'm gonna fucking get results. And don't get me wrong, I did get with one Serbian girl that was like over 30, but all the pretty, young women that I actually wanted to date, most of them were just like, no, I don't want to date you. Like I want to date the Serbian guy. Or maybe there'll be a girl that is Serbian, she's young, she's beautiful, but she's more like Americanized. And then you're kind of, you know,
Yeah.
at that point, might as well go to fucking Miami then, you know?
Yeah.
And
So it's roughly 1 in 10 girls you approach. Just make up like 1 in 20, 1 in something.
I think like, yeah, like 1 in 20.
1 in 20.
Something like that.
Versus in Poland, it's 18 out of 20.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So again, it's like
yeah.
level up as much as you can, but also find the right. Okay, cool. If you guys want to take a boot camp or maybe online coaching in person, if you want someone to actually take you out, and whether it's, you know, he's monitoring you virtually, like you're staying in your city and maybe you're like on a call with a mouthpiece, or you're being recorded, you're sending the audios in some way, you want coaching there, or even better, just come out to see this fucking man in person and have him literally be your wingman and teach you, showing what you're doing wrong, show you how to be more charming, more polarizing, more attractive to women, work on your mouthpiece, your game, and fix whatever issues you may have. Where can they find you? We'll put the description in the video, but what's your socials again?
Max Keswick, Maxkesik.
Max Keswick, and it'll be in the description. Again, pleasure. Thank you for doing this for me.
Nice to meet you, bro.
And let us know in the comments if we should collab in the future. And that's it, boys. Cheers.